meeting to order at 6:30. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Winchester,
Here.
Ryan,
Here.
Burton,
Here.
Ruth,
Here.
Hollis.
Yes. Agenda approval. I would like to amend the agenda under old business. We should have the contract from AKA Architect. It was on the agenda last month. Under new business, we took no action. I would like to amend that to put it there. And then we had the Farmstead Road on the agenda, and it got moved. It would need to go under new business number 9.
You said Farmstead Road?
Yes. Is there support?
Support?
Motion by Cullis, support by Burton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
Steve, I didn't hear you.
I said aye.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's 4-1. All right. Consent agenda. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial. They do not require discussion by the Township Board, and they will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion. If discussion is desired on an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will automatically be moved to the last item under new business.
I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
Support?
Motion by Winchester and support by both trustees. Burton and Ruth.
No, it has to be one. or
Okay,
the
just
other.
Burton. I said
Sorry,
that first.
Steve.
Sorry, Steve.
That's fine.
It was like a dead heat. Anyway, roll call, please.
Winchester,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Hollis.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Public hearing, we have none. Presentation, Oakland County Treasurer Robert Wittenberg.
Good evening.
Welcome to Holly Township.
Thanks for having me. Nice to be back. And then are we on, is on Zoom over there as well, or are we
YouTube.
YouTube? Okay, but
No.
we're live, or is it just being recorded?
Live.
Live, okay. Hello everyone at home as well. And hello everyone here. Always want to know which audience I'm speaking to here. So I'm Robert Wittenberg. I'm the Oakland County Treasurer. I've been in this position since July 1st of 2021. And I've been out here a couple times to meet with, I met with Jen, I think it was summer,
Yeah.
midsummer, late summer, something like that. And then I was out here a couple years before that meeting with her predecessor. I did a kind of a traverse the county to try to meet with all the local treasurers here. We have 63 cities, villages, and townships in Oakland County, more than any other county in the state. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And I got to anyone that was willing to meet. There's a few that they're really small communities and they had no interest, but I met with 59 of the communities over like a 3-month period, summer, fall this year. So always, come to talk that it's a partnership, and however we can be helpful at the county, we want to do so. And so obviously most closely with Jen here. But why I came today is there's the tax cycle. And it's, in essence, people, unfortunately know our office for the foreclosures. I always tell people, in our office, our goal is not to foreclose. Our job is to collect taxes. That's what we want to do. We don't want to foreclose. And so what we're doing now is the tax cycle. And again, this is every county. This is a state law. 3 years and prior is what's subject to foreclosure. So we're in 2024. Anyone that owes 2021 or prior year taxes is subject to foreclosure this year. Typically, March 31st is the deadline for people to pay. Because it falls on a weekend this year, April 1st is the deadline for people to pay. And so we accept payment through that night. We have our systems open that night. But what I'm doing is traversing the county as well, going to township meetings, going to council meetings, and just talking about the work that we're trying to do and the help that we want to provide. The one thing, I'll talk a little bit again, I'm not going to talk too long. If you don't listen to anything else that I say this evening, listen to this, that we are here to help. For anyone that does owe, and I think I looked, let me see the numbers. We know as of right now, there are 40 properties that are subject to foreclosure on April 1st, specifically in Holly Township. So, and we can get a list to anyone, that wants, if they want to go out and try to knock on some of these doors. Or typically, what we've seen more than anything is vacant land. A lot of times it's vacant land. But again, we want to work with anyone that wants to work with us, but we need people to reach out to us. So last year we did a really robust outreach campaign, and we had our lowest foreclosure number ever in Oakland County. Out of the hundreds of thousands of parcels in Oakland County, only 90 were foreclosed last year, of which most of those were vacant. And then there is an auction that goes on, again, all statute, this is all stuff that we follow, that's state law. So we did a lot last year, and that's, again, why I'm going out, and this will be kind of the cycle every year. I try to hit different parts of the county. Unfortunately, some boards meet on the same night, so I can't get to every one of them, but and I'll be actually coming back for the village of Holly in a couple weeks as well. So I will be up here. But again, encouraging people, if you or anyone has 2021 or prior year taxes, please reach out to us. Just like Jen here and your locals, we can't forgive your taxes. We can't, if there's interest and fees that are added, it's mandated, it is law. So, but what we can do is try to give you more time to pay. We can put you on a repayment schedule, and also see if there are any resources that might be available to you. We have within our office, we have our financial empowerment center. So someone who runs that, who's like a financial coach, who can help people with budgeting, help people with their debt, even helps small business owners that are trying to put together a business plan. Does a really great job. So I would encourage people, I'm going to give a few numbers out, and if you want to write it down, if not, you can go to our website. But calling our office if you want to schedule what's called a taxpayer assistance meeting. So we have a one-on-one, we can do call, we can do in person, whatever works for you. We'll talk to each person about their unique situation and see what we can do to help. As I said, try to get them on a repayment agreement to get them in a better financial situation, see if there's grants available. Call us, 248-858-0611. Or you can visit our website, oakgov.com/treasurer, and you can schedule a time. You can call directly and schedule it, or you can go online and schedule it. But we do those meetings. The Financial Empowerment Center that I mentioned, Rita, who runs that, you can call that line directly. That number is 248-807-5287. And then a couple resources I just want people to be aware of. One, outside entity, so it's not us, but we refer people over to. If you need any kind of legal services, it's for low-income families and seniors, and they help you with anything but traffic citations and criminal law. But otherwise, they handle anything for low-income families and seniors. Is Lakeshore Legal Aid? There are a bunch of volunteer attorneys that handle that. So you can go look for Lakeshore Legal Aid online or call 1-888-783-8190, and I can send all this. I think we might have sent it over to you for when I was coming out here. The other thing to talk about is and you all are Oakland County equalization, right? You don't have your own assessor. It's
Correct.
Right? So equalization. So there is it's a poverty exemption. So anyone that qualifies based on their income could get a poverty exemption, and it would lower your taxes. We just want people to be aware of that as well. But they would have to reach out to Equalization Department at 248-858-0740. So
is that something that could be retroactive?
Poverty, so no and yes. No, that wasn't the case, but they actually, the law don't quote me though, I know they were working on it, I don't know if it passed or not, but they were actually working on that to do a look back. Also, to have it be granted for more than one, because it's 1 year at a time, you get granted 1 year at a time. And there was, I'm a former legislator, I was a state rep prior to becoming treasurer, and so there was a bill that was introduced to make it so you apply for, I think it was 2 or 3 years at a time, instead of every year having to come back.
Yeah, if you were a fixed income.
Correct, correct. So offhand, I don't know, but that's something, you can talk to equalization, and they should know that. So, and then I think I covered everything that I needed to. The point that I want to drive home is that we are here to help. We only know you need help if you tell us you need help. We send, per the statute, we send every parcel before, if we were to get foreclosed, gets 2 certified mail, 2 first-class mail, 2 postings on the property. We do everything we can to try to reach out. So we want you to know that we're here to help. But if we don't hear from you, then we don't know you need any help. So, again, call us, reach out to us, 858-0611, 248-858-0611, or go to our website, ogov.com/treasurer. So that's really all I have to say. I'm happy to answer any questions or any other information you might need. And again, anyone that needs, if they need me to send over electronic copies of anything, we can do that.
So a question I would have is this this financial coach you mentioned, are they able to be mobile? Like as far
She's actually pretty good about, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she will meet with people. Most of the stuff can be done over the phone or Zoom or, however. But she actually does go around the county because she also, her other hat that she wears is she's a personal property tax collector. So she has different areas of the county that she covers to go collect personal property tax. So yeah, she's out and about. So, I wouldn't want that to be an impediment for someone to, to reach out, and because they are, constrained to a particular area.
Now, will she do classes for anyone, or do you have to fit the? Because I'm just thinking maybe this.
No,
is
that's
something.
separate. So within our office, anyone that calls her that needs
Okay.
any kind of help, she'll work with. The other program that I was talking about, that was based on low income and seniors.
Okay.
With our financial coach, she's willing to help anyone that wants to call, and she'll walk you through budgeting. She'll walk you through trying to lower your credit card debt, trying to all those kind of things. She's really helpful, and then what she can't help you with, she tries to point you in the right direction. Right? Any grants that might be available from the state, federal grants, things like that.
Okay. Well, I'm just kind of thinking maybe for a group of people, if a group of people wanted to have this individual speak at
Sure.
some building,
Yeah.
she could
Oh, yeah.
potentially be willing to do that.
Yeah, and I would consider coming with. I mean, depending on the topic and what you would want, I'll come speak. She'll come speak. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That we've done that.
You had mentioned there were 40 lots in Holly Township, or 40 properties?
40 that are right now that have not paid their 2021 or prior year
That
taxes.
seems like a very high number compared to
So-
63 or 90,
Well,
whatever you said.
so, and also FYI, right, I'm here, we have a month, just over a month.
Right.
As you can imagine, there's some people that wait till the last day to pay, right? So that number will not be 40. It will go down.
Okay.
To what it goes down to, I'm not really sure.
Still seems
but-
like it's high for.
But yeah,
our
but
township.
as you can imagine, right, people do wait, unfortunately wait, and we want people to pay earlier. That's why I'm really doing this campaign to get out, because there's interest and fees that are added that, again, we have no control over. There's nothing we can do. So the longer people wait, the more they have to pay. So I'm always encouraging people, pay more, pay what try to pay it off as early as you can, because it's going to save you in the long run. So
Okay.
So after that, so 2021 and prior, so how
Yep,
much
so-
time do these individuals have if, I'm just trying to think, could they go back from like 2016? Is there a cutoff that says, hey, now is when the property gets foreclosed?
it's every situation is right. Every property is evaluated individually. Like, there are ways that people can be withheld from foreclosure, right? If there's a death in the family, it's going through probate, then it gets pulled from the list, right? There were a couple years where we actually did a moratorium during COVID. 2020 and 2021, there was a moratorium, right? So there are some people that go back longer than I would hope, but there are some people that go back with those years. But typically, it is a 3-year process.
Okay.
Right? So someone didn't pay their 2021s, likely didn't pay 2022s, aren't going to pay their 2023s that are due, and never contacted us, never, let's say it was like a speculator who just bought it and has done nothing, then, they will be foreclosed this year because they didn't pay, they haven't reached out to us, right? So that's how it works, unless someone reaches out to us to try to get on a repayment agreement.
Good.
So, but there are some people that have older, it's not just 21s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
For somebody that would set up a payment plan, that would help reduce the late fees? Because the late fees are only on the unpaid balance, or
Right, correct. Yeah. So, well, there's certain fees that go on if you have, but the interest is added on, yes, so it does lower the interest. Everything you pay lowers the interest.
anything you pay can help reduce
Because it is a percentage, right? It is,
Right.
the interest is a percentage on the balance.
unpaid balance.
Correct. So yes, anything you can pay, and we do take partial payments, right? That's the repayment agreement that we would set up. So yes, we encourage people to do that.
Okay.
So, and again, call our office, please.
Any other questions?
I mean, I would like you to send us the list.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Do that tomorrow.
And I will tell you, our county commissioner is Bob Hoffman,
Yep.
and I know every year he goes door to door to all of those that are on your list.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So Bob is unique. We actually, I say this to all the county commissioners, and I say I can send you a list and feel free to go door to door. Bob is one that always takes us up on that and does go door to door. I give him a lot of credit for that. Is that he is trying to help.
Especially because he's got a large area to cover.
He does, yeah, and it's multiple communities. So, but yeah, we send him the list, and he goes door to door, and so that is something we offer to all the commissioners if they're willing to do it. And then, like I said, any locals as well, we're happy to send it to you. And again, it's all public information. Tax information is public information, but just that we can aggregate and put we can actually collect the data and put it.
I don't think I've known in the past that we had those kind of numbers.
Yeah. I'd have to look to see where it is, compared to where it was last year. But like I said, it will not be 40. There are some people that always pay close to the end.
Well, you said you've got between now and April 1st.
Correct. So there's still a bit of time. There's still another posting that we're going to do. So there's going to be one more on structures. If it's a vacant lot, there will not be another posting. But if there is a structure, there will be something put on the structure that says, April 1st is your deadline to pay. We actually started this because, don't need to get into too much of this and bore you all with all of this, but ultimately, like, the way the law is written, right, if the property is foreclosed, then it vests into the treasurer's office, right? And so it becomes, in essence, our property, and we are the ones that are maintaining the property. So if it needs grass cutting, if it needs snow removal, right, whatever it is throughout the time. And again, I will emphasize that our goal is not to foreclose. Our goal is to just collect taxes. But we have a company that does our maintenance for us. As you can imagine, it's a big county. Within our office, we wouldn't be able to do it. And so we actually moved up the time. They used to go and visit the property after foreclosure to assess what was needed. We actually said, why don't we do this before foreclosure, so it's another touch point to encourage people to pay, right? Like, again, our goal is for people to pay or reach out to us. And so they're going out there now saying, like, if you do not make this payment or reach out to the treasurer's office, then you can be foreclosed, and the property will be the property of the Oakland County Treasurer. So there is people that will be visiting these properties in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions? I know this is unusual, but are there any questions from the audience while Mr. Wittenberg's here?
yeah, I'm happy to.
I don't see any. I can't see behind you, but apparently somebody would have stood up.
No, answer it.
Okay.
And it goes to all of you. Please, you have the number. Please call us. And if you friends, family. And a lot of times you see your neighbors, we get it from other communities where a neighbor will call and say, I saw this. It's usually this green posting that gets posted on their door. And that usually happens, that already happened. That happened earlier in the cycle. But they see that. And if you do see something like that, encourage them to pay or encourage them to reach out. You know, you guys can be our eyes and ears, and whatever help you can offer would be great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you all for having me. All right, have a good night.
You know, you mentioned that we had 63 separate communities.
Yes.
The largest in the state. Well, it's because we have the largest population.
Number 2, Wayne County is number 1.
Oh, are they?
Wayne County is about 1.6 million people. We're about 1.3 million.
So Wayne County's grown.
Wayne County is bigger than us, but they have fewer municipalities. We have more than any out of the 83 counties. When I tell people we have 63, they are shocked.
Yeah.
So,
It's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot. So that's why I'm trying to get to as many meetings as I can. A lot of nights I'm going from one to the next. And like I said, I'll be at Holly Village in 2 weeks, I think it is.
Yep. It'll be right here in the
3
same
weeks.
room.
Yep, that's what they said.
You can just sit and wait.
Yeah, I'll sleeping bag. I'll get a sleeping bag and just hang out for a little bit. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, from there, we'll move on to reports. We'll start with the trustees, Mr. Ruth
Nothing for me?
and Mr. Burton.
So this month was my first HIA meeting. Very, very fun meeting to be at. This last meeting, they discussed who had had different communities they have. So when she came, they talked about the shoes, they talked about the toy program, they talked about all those various programs. So they kind of picked who within that group was going to run that. They did also make the decision for individuals who cannot afford cap and gowns to not let that be a limitation for why they could not go to graduation. So they will now, you know, if you meet certain criteria eligibility, they will now pay for that. So that was good to hear as well. And, you know, that can come straight from a school counselor if they kind of know, because most of these kids are not going to tell somebody else and they're just not going to show up, right? So that kind of prevents them from that, and that could be the last graduation they would ever attend. So just a good meeting. I really enjoyed that. So that's all I have. So thank you, everybody, for
Okay.
doing that.
Township clerk?
The presidential primary is Tuesday, the 27th. There's also early voting at Springfield Oaks through Sunday. And I think that's it.
You said we've had how many so far?
Well, out of 3 communities, so it's Rose, Springfield, and Holly. As of today at 2, there was only 128 people that had voted.
120. Okay.
And then the clerk's office is also open from 8:30 to 4:30 on Saturday for absent voter ballots,
And where do we have a ballot box?
right next to your office. We spoke about that last month.
Well, I know, but we tell them again, there is a ballot
There
box
is
right
yes,
outside the township
which
office.
is, a lot of people don't like, but it is by law that we have to have a ballot box.
And there is a video.
And there's a,
recording on
yep,
that
there's a
ballot.
It is
security,
video protected.
24/7, yep.
So smile, you're on candid camera.
Yes.
All right. And the treasurer.
Just off the back of what Robert said, the 2023 taxes are only payable locally until February 29th. March 1st, they go to the county as delinquent. So if you haven't paid any of your 2023, come see us this month. Get them paid.
I have a question for you. Do you know approximately how much cash is on hand right now?
Yes-ish. I didn't bring it with me, but I do look at the
Approximately.
bank every day, so I can kind of.
Okay.
Are you talking just like general checking or like? Cause
General cash and then CDs or something that take a few months to make. to
yeah,
process.
let me try to like
Okay.
picture in my head. Just trying to do some quick math.
That's okay. I really meant approximately.
Yeah. So
Steve, you're going to learn Jen does not do
I would say
approximate.
approximately 2 million.
Okay. Of the cash on hand.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot. All right. Maybe useful in later part of the meeting.
Okay.
right.
Several things for the supervisor's report. I got an email from a resident, many of you know him, Mark Cornwell, and he was for some reason, he was going through minutes and he had looked at the minutes from June of last year. And that was when we appointed the new deputy treasurer. And in that appointment, the motion was made to appoint the new deputy treasurer at a step 2, level 2, with a salary of whatever level 2 is. It's 45,000 something. And the motion was made, it was seconded, and we voted on it. Mr. Cornwall's question was, I thought salaries had to be done by resolution. Well, he's correct, they do. And that salary had been established by resolution when we had the salary study, and we added those steps to the employee handbook and implemented them as part of the budget. The mistake that we made, and we never thought about it because we as the board knew where it was coming from, in the future, we should probably, when we make a motion like that, say, based on the employee handbook, or it should, which would then automatically tell you that it was set up by a resolution before. I bring that up because, minutes are our history, and when people go back, they should tell a story. And he wasn't wrong when with his concern, but I was able to show him where we did it. And at the time, I thought I was going to bring those minutes back so we could amend them, but state law, since once we've approved them, they're in the books. And that way, we can't go back and rewrite history, if you will. But just for the board to know that as we go forward, and it's something we do so unusual, rarely, that we had, but we had to replace a
And we didn't
position.
state it, so you can't add sentences to motions that actually weren't
Right,
stated.
that we didn't state, and that's why. So, that's a good thing too, but I just wanted to bring it up to the board so that you were aware of it. I told the resident that I was going to bring it back, and then I found out I couldn't, but at least we've addressed it, and we know about it going forward. To think about when we do something like that, we should attach where it comes from. That being said, then the other thing on the supervisor's report, I had 2 things. Darn it, that was one. Well, if I think about it later, I'll bring it back. We will move on to public comment on agenda items only. Members of the public can address the board on agenda items only once recognized by the supervisor. Comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Board may extend this time by a majority vote. Prior to addressing the board, members of the public shall state their name and address for the record. A second public comment is available after new business for all other comments. Thank you for your cooperation. Oh, I thought Mr. Wittenberg was getting up for public comment.
That was my time to. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Number 9 that you added, contract for architect, is that for the site at Grange Hall Road?
No, number 9 is the Farmstead Road.
Okay, and 10 was,
No,
No,
there
it was
wasn't
under
10.
new
Under
business.
old business
oh,
was the architect contract, and that's regarding the new building.
okay, then I have something to say on the agenda item.
Okay.
My name is Sherilyn Everly. I live at 314 Hadley Street. I've passed this out to you already, but I'd like to read it into the record. I've been talking to a lot of people, and I'm just going to read this. Regarding the Holly Area Veterans Resource Center and the Holly New Generation Seniors.
Can I just stop you for a second? You're reading the cover letter?
Yes, that's all.
Okay, because if you're going to do the whole thing, it was going to get you extra time. Okay.
Attached are 2 documents that describe the current space needs for the Holly Veterans Resource Center and the New Generation Seniors. The clock is ticking on the veterans' use of the Carl Richter Community Center, and the New Generation Seniors are currently meeting at Battle Alley Coffee Shop. Both organizations have supplies, and the vets have furniture as well. Can you please find a way to give them a home, even if it's temporary, in the new property on Grange Hall Road? I'm sure they could work out schedules and could co-use the space to meet the needs of our vets and our seniors. Hire, for free, an AmeriCorps volunteer. Sorensen Nature Center has hired a very nice man named Tom. He opens and closes the building, he cleans up, he takes out the trash, he runs the vacuum cleaner, and he feeds the turtles. You could follow that model and have someone responsible for the building, and it wouldn't cost you anything. And I know the question has come up in the past, why should the vets and the seniors get preference for that space over anybody else? It's simple in my mind, because they have invested the most time, the most of their treasure, the most of their talents, and for some of them, most of their lives to this community. And there is no other group that you can say that about. Number two reason I'm here is that I know we want a real community center, and that property is a golden opportunity. I'm excited, Jim is excited about the opportunity that this new township property offers for the future. However, as much and as good as you people are and as hard as you work, you do not have the capacity to oversee and pull off a project of this magnitude that really deserves professional attention. So my suggestion is that if we're going to do this dream, let's do it right. You're going forward with upcoming budget discussions. There are people who specialize in this very thing, not just the construction, not just the architecture, but the community engagement that we are so lacking. I'm going to go off script here for a minute and just get on my soapbox and say, lack of planning and lack of community involvement is what's causing the distrust, the rancor, the disillusionment with this community, and we've got to turn that around. And this is a golden opportunity, and I'm begging you, please, let's not mess it up. Let's put the attention that it deserves. I've talked to George, I've talked to people today. I'm willing to pull together a nonprofit that could work together with this and help and go for grants. I mean, it's always a grant out there, but it needs to be a community effort. You can slow your roll. You don't have to do anything. You can have some people keeping the place open and safe and, building some goodwill towards it. Please think about it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else for your comments? Marlo?
Marlo Davidson, 434 Sherwood Court. I'm glad Cheryl spoke before me. She covered everything I would have said if I could remember it. But it just brings something up. I think it's 40 years ago, maybe more, 35 to 40 years, that this was brought up, a community center. Not necessarily a senior center, but a community center. And it's been bandied about all these many years. And now we actually have people who want to get together and they have no place. And the seniors seem to get a raw deal. They've been pushed around ever since Hollyhocks closed down from that school. Problems or issues, whatever was going on, changes within that school. And they're kind of pushed into Woodlands, but then the people in the low-rise don't feel that they're welcome in Woodlands. So that issue, it all boils down to me. I'm very concerned about mental health, and people need to have people. They need to be able to go somewhere and be with people. And it seemed like there was something else I wanted to say. But that'll do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Marlo. Mary Blanchard.
Mary Blanchard, 3444 Old Creek Drive, and I will second Sherilyn and Marlo's comments. The other thing I would add is that this community needs a space for community groups to meet. A small room and a large room would be very beneficial. Does not have to be fancy, just needs a couple tables and chairs and whatever, but other than that, we're scrambling all the time to try and find places to meet. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else I see a hand coming. Come on. Well, I was going to. It's okay.
We should move John up.
I can't hear you.
We shouldn't have made John 9. Are we paying him?
I'm not
to
that
be
short.
here? It should be up here.
Joe Mishler,
Oh, I didn't see.
620 Academy Road. And I guess I can second, triple, quadruple Cheryl Lynn. And they're right. The idea of a community center has been kicked around and kicked around and kicked around. And I know a couple summers ago, there were a couple of guys in town who were trying to put together a senior, or not a senior center, but a community center. And it didn't go very far. But you folks do have a prime opportunity. That building setting out there could be something that we haven't had since the Community Ed Center. How many of you remember the Community Ed Center? Okay, if you remember the Community Ed Center, the seniors had a home, all kinds of people had a home, and it was really great. That's 111 College, for those of you who need a history lesson. And that went away when the school district got rid of it. But we do need it. And we have a lot of groups that are doing a lot of really wonderful things. And your group represents the best opportunity. Yes, you can take in non-governmental groups. I know the township has historically. If you need some proof of that, I can go back through the record and we can find it. So you have a prime opportunity with that building out on Grange Hall Road. And you have a prime opportunity to help groups like the seniors, the Chamber of Commerce, the Veterans Center, and I don't know who else. But we have to act on that. We have to move forward with that. There is grant money out there. We can get grant money. We could do a lot of different things to help you reshape that building. But you're the only governmental agency that's got any room whatsoever, because we know the school doesn't. They're scrambling right now to figure out where they're going to go once they start tearing that building down. We know the village doesn't have room in its new facility. So that leaves it with you, who are sitting there with the largest building. And I'm in agreement with Sherilyn. Maybe it is time that we set aside some of the rancor and bitterness I know between the village and the township. God almighty, it's been 100 years and that crap has been going on. 100 years. There was nobody here from back then, but you can just go look at the papers and you can see it. We need to set all that aside and think of the community. Think of the people. How can we help the people? Not how can we get even with somebody in, some other government or whatever, but how can we help people? Because that's what most of our groups are all about. The seniors, they're all about helping people. The veterans, we're all about helping people. We're about helping people that have real problems. So I'm urging you to think this through, rethink it. That building's sitting empty. You could put some groups in it now, because I don't know when you're going to get into that building. By the time you get into it, it could be restructured in such a way that everybody would be happy. But you need to take the action. It's on you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Well, I was going to say Marlo's already been up, but she's up again.
Yeah. I just remembered what I wanted to add. I was in Florida a few years ago and had the opportunity to visit a a community center, and I can't remember what town it was in. Anyway, it was fabulous, but it was built for this purpose, so it was huge. And it was so impressive, but the seniors had rooms to meet in and for different programs that they might run, but they still had rooms that they rented out to people in the community that needed a small space. They even had a stage, and they put on plays, just the seniors. Was nobody else. They were wonderful. This particular building, as I remember it, would serve well for leaving the open space and offices, as I recall. There were a couple of rooms that were offices. Why not rent those offices out and let the seniors and the veterans use the large space? And this is temporary till something else comes up. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, not appearing. I will move into old business, and that is the, I did it up here. The contract with the AKA. What I'm going to pass out here is what was in the packet from last month. Sorry. I'm going to send 3 your way so the secretary has one. Then what you'll see is the contract was with the architecture firm. They're the ones that did the concept drawings that we had when we were talking to the village. When we talked to the village, we talked about them being in the front space. It was available, ready to move in. They could have moved in almost immediately with very little work necessary. They made the decision to go a different direction. What we learned from that conversation was, through those meetings with the village and the public, was the desire for a community center. Marlo mentioned the community center, and she was trying to remember some things she wanted to say. Interestingly enough, I have 2 articles from the Community Voice. I've always heard of the Holly Herald. Is Community Voice, I'm assuming, was another paper?
Yeah. It came afterwards. There was a little independent for a short while.
Oh, okay. So the Community Voice, well, these are articles that were written by Marlo Davidson back in '07, and I just highlighted in her article, she talks about the need for a community center and references the one that was at the middle school on College Street, and she said that seemed to meet some needs with a community director on staff. Then about 6 years ago, poof, all was gone. 6 years ago would have been 2001. She made reference there. In the next article, which ironically she wrote the next week, it says, consider a cultural center built on the border of the village and the township, which could include the offices. It might be a multi-purpose auditorium. There might be coffee shop, party room, Chamber of Commerce office. So she talks about it back then. And I thought that was interesting when I saw those 2 articles, and I wanted to bring that forward. We have seen a surge in communities. We've seen all the news about Linden and their community center and Fenton and theirs. Orion Township just spent $9 million to buy an athletic club that was for sale, that they intend on turning it. Now, Orion Township's bigger than we are. I get that. But they bought this athletic center, and it has 100 employees. And they're tackling that project as the community center. The community wanted it, and they went there. The point is, these are communities where young families want to move to. These are communities that are on the up and go. We've got somewhere close to 1,000 homes coming through our planning commission and people asking for these. And I think if we had the ability to offer the village to come and they didn't come, I think we at least deserve to look at this going forward. Now, the contract with AKA was because we had used the money we appropriated, we had to re-up and appropriate some more money. This, if you look at it, it calls for work to be done at a rate of $125 an hour going forward, and they put $5,000 down so that we would have room to move and talk to them. I know that the Dickens Festival back in, it was, I think in January, said we would be back to show a building to build on the property with the storage. One of the concerns was we don't really have a master plan in the exact location where that would make sense. The other thing that we talked about was needing some kind of an architectural theme, because we'd like all the buildings to be built to look alike to complement the property going forward. None of that can be discussed, none of that can be looked at without this contract, working with the architect. Now, I've talked to Brad since the last meeting, and you'll see on the second page of what I handed you tonight is a second one that just talks about what it would take to look at the architectural theme and what it would take to rework the current, I lost the word, the current conceptual drawing that had the township on one end and the village on the other, that drawing, and what that would look like. And I think we need that so we can talk about things, we can look at what we want to do going forward. I know I heard today that we heard originally that everybody had to be out of Carl Richter by June 1st. Now I've heard, because the veterans are in that wing close to the gym, that they've even moved that date up. It's my understanding, I think I heard the end of March. My biggest concern with the Veterans Resource Centers, they've been here for 5 years. They are now meeting with veterans from this community. Their numbers are equaling the numbers that Oakland County meets with. Oakland County's numbers haven't gone down. These are just people that didn't get service before. They didn't drive that far. They didn't want to go that far. And the Resource Center, if they have to shut down and go away and put their stuff in a storage unit until fall of 25 or spring of 26 before they can even start to do something again, the question will be whether it even gets up and running again. They're going to lose so much momentum that they've built over the last 5 years. And then what happens to those veterans in the next 2 years that need help? I know Joe was telling me they just had a fella come in the other day who's living out of his car, 35 years old, and they're getting him help and making these things happen. So I think we at least deserve to move forward and get more information so we can look at these things to make the decisions. And
We left it last month that we were going to have a workshop to discuss all these things.
well,
And I think the concept of this is already pretty much, we could discuss because we already have that, because the village was already going to be a part of that. So I think we have the majority of this concept already down, and maybe we should invite them to talk to the board.
invite who?
Invite AKA,
Well,
based on what we already have planned.
And Brad's willing to do that. It's just that based on what we had, it shows, the concept drawing shows the village and the township. Brad would need to talk to the veterans to understand their need. They would be able to come forward with the veterans in the chamber and how that would work. But we need to get this done.
I think it would be a community center, not necessarily based.
I know, but I'm just saying whatever comes forward, we would look at that. And that's why I brought this. Now, I could have authorized this because I'm allowed to do up to $1,000, but because at the last meeting we talked about it, and we talked about 3 things. We talked about workshop, we talked about a public survey, and we put a public survey out there. I'm not happy with what we did because the public survey got changed before it got put out there. And it went out through GovDelivery. It never went out on social media. It was never printed. We've had more people in the township office between paying for taxes and ballots that we could have been handing those out, and it didn't happen. It ended up going with a QR code, and you couldn't print from it. I made the mistake. If you fill it out, it says you've already filled it out, you can't see it. So you couldn't get access to it. Interestingly enough, from that GovDelivery email, we had a total of 5 people respond to that survey. It was in the GovDelivery newsletter that went out. Let me give you 3 of these again.
We didn't have any input on the survey.
You did.
You did.
With the board, I didn't know it was going on GovDelivery because I had.
Well, I didn't either.
Well, I don't want to get into this argument, but we had Veterans Center on that survey, and you had Amy take it off. In the meantime, I was working on a more detailed survey, which I'll pass out here.
And I said it needed to go to the board.
And instead instead the survey went out on GovDelivery, which short-stepped it. Here's the paper going that way. I'm sorry. Okay. My point is, there's time to do this. If we keep kicking this can down the road because we've got to do this. The interesting thing is with these 5 surveys, if you look at it, all 5 people said that they wanted space for additional, none of them said Holly Township offices only. In the 5 surveys, they either wanted space for recreation or they wanted space for other things. 2 people specifically said, I think one of them said force the, or one-stop shop, village and township, and another one said, I'm trying to see where that's worded. It's in this. It's the one thing I didn't highlight, of course. Oh, yeah, this one says one-stop shop for village and township residents.
Page 9 is the other comment.
Just go ahead and read what it says.
Space community-oriented nonprofit.
Space community oriented, okay. So there were a couple of things that were put in there. I know it's only 5 surveys, but most people didn't even know it was out there. I couldn't print the thing. Amy was out for the last 3 weeks. She had unexpected surgery, and by the way, to report, she's doing well. And I just remembered the second half of my supervisor's report. Amy announced today that the township received a $9,000 grant from Eagle regarding old tire removal from the township. So that was a grant she had written and submitted and got that. There are other grants available to help with this project going forward. I know that Sherilyn met with Jennifer Farrington, and there's money there and help available. I know my source is interested, the sources that I have are interested in helping. And I also know I talked to Jeff from the Humanities Group, and they are going to have money available. He told me I needed to call him on April 16th. They're currently working with the Attorney General's office, and they're streamlining the grants. You used to have to apply for grant money if you wanted grant money for planning, if you wanted grant money for architecture, if you wanted grant money toward the project. They're streamlining that process, so you'll apply for grant money for one project, which will include all of those things going along. So that's out there. I know Amy and Sherilyn have worked together. You've heard Sherilyn say she's willing to help with those grants. Amy's getting better at it as she works with it. So those possibilities are there. But every time we decide not to do anything till next month, we continue to lose a month. We can put this stuff together and we can do those things and talk about it.
Well, and I have a problem because we never even agreed on, it says like here that they are going to relook at the space that we allocated for the village. Well, the board never even agreed on what space the village was even going to be in. So we've never even met as a board on the conceptual plan for the township hall. And I really think that's really important as we move forward. And when we're considering bringing these people in for temporary, their temporary is what, a year and a half, 2.5 years? So we're out of space at our location. So we have to rethink everything. It's not just this little, it's not just this little piece here.
We left the last meeting and we were going to do those.
A workshop.
Yeah, and Amy went to set forward on that, and you said, not right now, your office was too busy. Well, my office...
No, I never said that.
Well, I know, we always run into this. We have a conversation, you say one thing, and then later you change your mind and say you didn't say it.
No.
I know.
You say I say things that I don't say.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why...
And why...
Can we get a call to question, please?
Sure.
We'll vote on it.
So there's a motion to approve the contract with AKA.
Who made the motion?
I'm making the motion. To approve the contract with AKA. It simply sets money in place so when we need to work with them, when we require a drawing, we don't have to stop and come back to a board meeting to move forward. It makes no other decision but allowing us to work forward.
For which amount?
Like I said, there's 2 bids in front of you. One was for $500 if you only worked with the veterans. The other one just puts $5,000 out there. It's at $125 an hour as we direct them what we need done.
I think we need the $5,000 when
Okay.
we make the decision on how we're gonna move forward, but I think we need to make that decision as a board.
And I agree. But we've got to approve this because we can't even, if the board decided they want to do something, we'd have to wait for another meeting and come back to approve this again. So approving it tonight is going to help us go forward. Is there support?
Support.
Is there any further discussion?
I don't know what we're approving.
Yeah, we're doing 500 or
We're-
5,000.
No, the 5,000.
Yep, not to
Didn't say
exceed $5,000.
Pardon?
I will just note that this I'm okay with going forward. I think I will want to see those grants because I do know there are grants out there. I do not want to deplete our general fund to do this, but if
Same.
grants are available as I know they are, then we should be okay.
Same here, or we put it to a ballot question for a recreation center. Or a community center, excuse me, the addition of a building, but those are all things that we have to identify where we could put and how much it's gonna cost and move forward. I think it's a great idea,
Right.
but we have a lot of steps to get there.
And we do, and we've said we're a couple of years away from a larger community center type building. But in the meantime, we may be able to facilitate at least some space for people to operate out of. And at the same time, this also references, you'll see in the second one, where we revised the scope of services. It also determines style, theme for the exterior of the building renovation and addition, which also can be applied to any future buildings constructed on the site. Anything further? Roll call, please.
What is your specific motion?
To approve the one on the top, January 8th, 2024,
Okay,
AKA, and to include the additional scope from the second page for February 21st, where it says, number 2, determine style for the exterior of the building renovation, style theme. It says it in parentheses. Do you see it?
I see that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why we're worrying about doing building renovation on future buildings if we don't have a current building,
No. What we're talking about is that building that Dickens is supposed to propose.
right?
We've got numbers for the basic square footage, but we can't work in details without knowing what theme is there.
It's on the outside.
Okay?
Okay.
For any building, not
It's for any
necessarily-
building.
Right.
Yeah, for any building. But I'm just saying that one in particular, that's where,
Like the master plan, look for the property itself.
Right.
which includes the current building too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, roll call, please.
Okay.
Ryan,
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Winchester,
Yes.
Hollis.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0.
I think
Now,
for
pardon?
the new business, we
I'm
should.
gonna, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Yeah. As we get into new business, Brian Glock is a big guy. And I didn't know that right behind him is John Ballant. I didn't see you here. John Ballant is with HRC, so what I'd like to do is take item number 9 under new business and move it up to the top so we can address it while Mr. Ballant's here, and then he doesn't have to stay through the whole evening. I didn't know he was here, I just didn't see him. Usually he comes in and sits up front somewhere, so I didn't know he was hiding back there. Is the board okay with that?
Well, I would move to approve moving number 9, new business, to number 1.
Support.
Motion by Winchester, support by Burton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we can address new business. We had approved the master plan for the farmstead, which included, in that master plan, a farm road on the back of the property along with a farm road down the middle of the property. I can pass these out if you need to refresh your mind. Now, we use the word road because vehicles will be able to travel that. But this one isn't a road like you think of building a road. It's a farm road. It's a glorified driveway, if you will. But Mother Nature has really messed with us in this past year with all the rain we had. It was the first time I remember a summer when I never had green grass or brown grass in July and August. The farmstead was wet all year long. We got into the fall and came into winter, and we expected in the winter to have the ground frozen so we could get on the property and work on it. And as you know, the winter's been mild and it's been a lot of rain. We haven't been able to move on there. The county hasn't even enforced frost laws for the roads this year because there just hasn't been any. I had said early on in the project that one of the first things I thought we should do is put the road in, and it was decided early on that that was probably something that should wait till later. But we're at a point where we just can't get in and move the equipment without everything getting stuck, and we need to start doing that road. Now, the plans are here. HRC had delivered a page that talked about what they predicted the cost would be had we had a contractor working on it. We have a gentleman currently working on the barn that has the equipment, that has done this kind of work in the past. It's part of what he does. And he's able to do it incrementally as he works on the project. The other plus to that is it helps him because the soil coming out of there is going to be used around the current project that we're doing. But it was concerned that it needed to come to the board for final approval. And I know, Karen, you have some things you wanted to say on it.
Well, I wanted to get bids to have this done from people that do that kind of work. And I haven't seen that that's part of what Dean does, but I think it needs to be bid out.
So in the bid out process, because I've been working this project, in the process, I've met with 2 other people that do that kind of work and looked at the price. I know that John Ballin and I have met with Dean out on the property and seen the work, and I know John's talked to him. And if the town, as opposed to the HRC's original...
Don't let that out, not the bid. Don't let, right.
Oh, don't
No, you don't.
Don't say the projected number?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
Because it can be considerably more than we could get it for locally. So that should not be let out publicly.
okay. Well, and so the numbers we've got locally are considerably below that. And we have 2 parts that have to be ordered, a 60-foot culvert for the project and geotextile for the project. And in that process, I've talked to the manufacturer supplier for the geotech, and we're able to get a municipal price because we're a governmental entity, and we can get it on the culvert as well. And those prices are far below the prices that both Gordy from the Road Commission and John were surprised at the low prices. My concern is that we've gone out for bids in the past, and we've spent 2 and 3 months the last time, and we even sent to 50 different construction companies, and we got 1 bid the first time. We then sent out a second month, and we got 2 bids. We ended up going with the first bid. Once we go out with bids, then we've got to get on their schedule, and we could be midsummer before we get to this done. What I don't
think so.
understand, I understand your concern for bids, but at the same time, we've got a person out there doing the work. You did a project for over $50,000 that you never brought to the board. We never did bids on any of that.
And what
But
was-
all of a sudden, this project,
No.
you've been fighting me on this the whole time.
Because you're trying to piece this together and have somebody that's putting together our barn. We're trying to fix a problem that is the contractor's problem. This should be done by a person that does this, and it shouldn't be a problem. We shouldn't be putting all this together for the barn guy. And to me, that's what's going on, is that you're going out trying to put all the materials together for this guy to do it. If he's gonna do it, then he needs to bid to the township, this is what it's gonna cost, and he should manage the whole project himself. And whoever bids should manage the whole project and buy all the materials,
Well, why didn't you go through that when you put all the pumps in the township? You never even came to the board, you never even considered the master plan for the farmstead, and you put them in two places that they're not gonna be used as the farmstead goes
that
forward.
was a grant.
That was no different than the money that pays for this.
Well,
The board never approved
okay,
any of that.
The board can decide.
Well,
I'm just
I'm
saying,
just
we're
saying.
trying to fix a problem for,
Well, we're not trying to fix a problem for him. The problem is for us. We can't get on the problem. We can't get on the farm, on the property for the farm or the community garden. We're not going to be able to do anything because you just can't move out there. My truck gets stuck, and I say my truck, pickup trucks sink in, let alone trying to get the heavy equipment around there. I had said when we did this, we should have started with the road first, and that should have been the first thing we went after.
one of the first things we should have is a general contractor at this point.
But this isn't, we're not building a hospital,
for
we're not building a school. These are individual things we're going to build as we go along. A general
Well,
contractor's going to come
obviously,
in
we're
here.
struggling.
Pardon?
Obviously, we're struggling to follow a procedure that is typically followed.
All right. So Karen and I could sit and argue this for an hour. We've not
Yeah,
seen
we should have
eye to
talked
eye.
about it before we even got here.
Well, I can't do that with you anymore because you change your mind and then tell me, no, we can't have a meeting with three people. That's the unfortunate part. You can laugh all you want, but I would have never gone to the veterans, but if it wasn't for our meeting in December, but you came back after 2 weeks and changed your mind.
I
And
did
then
not
I
do
know.
that.
Well, so again, we can argue that for an hour.
Yeah.
I just know I would have never done anything if you hadn't been on board. That being said, how does the rest of the board want to look at this? But John's here tonight to talk about the project so that you understand this isn't a road building. John, did you want to share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my question is, why do we need a real road when it just
It's not a real, well, that's what
Yeah,
John was
so-
looks like it?
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for having me tonight. Yeah, so we refer to the farm road as a road. It's a glorified driveway.
Okay.
It's 8 inches of gravel over a geotextile fabric, which is basically just it's a 15-foot wide roll of fabric that we roll out, and that's because the soils are bad. So we put that on to keep the aggregate, the gravel from sinking in and then having to redo the aggregate every year or every couple of years based on traffic. So it's a really simple process. There is a slightly complicated part if we were building the section right that joins North Holly Road. That's what requires the culvert. And I say it's a little more complicated because we have to install a culvert and like a catch basin structure. It's a 2-foot catch basin structure. Other than that, it's pretty simple. It's putting down gravel, compacting it, and then ideally, excavating as you go.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to cut down the existing level to, when we put back the 8 inches of asphalt, it's actually going to come back to the existing level. Except as you get further to the north, there's a little bit more cut. And part of this is most of that cut will be used around the foundation of the barn, so that, because the barn has multiple levels to it, so you can't really have the barn on just flat land. You have to have levels that ramp up and levels that ramp down. So a lot of that fill will need to go around the barn itself.
How about the drain?
The drain is at North Holly Road. Because there's an existing driveway, but as part of our design, we're shifting the driveway to the north. And there's drainage that hits in that area that has to go from one side to the other. So there's a culvert that goes across North Holly just about 30 or 40 feet to the north of the proposed driveway. So we need to move, yep, we do have drawings, so
Okay.
it's shown on that drawing. It's kind of
Steve,
small. I
The
should
culvert's right here.
have brought full-size ones,
can't.
but.
It's right there.
The culvert?
Yep.
Yep, there's a round circle, and then it shows the culvert going underneath the drive approach.
That's right.
So that's probably the most complicated part of it. The installation of that portion will require a permit from the road commission. We have,
I mean, we're just taking equipment out, right? Why do we need to have it officially done?
the road commission, working anywhere in the right of way, you need a permit. So it's a simple permit to
That
get.
culvert under the road is already there.
There is one there, yes.
Yeah.
That goes across the driveway. What we're doing, since we're shifting the driveway, because it's for future use, it's going to be too close to the north
What's
house.
for future use? The culvert or the driveway?
The new driveway, we're shifting the new driveway to the north because it's too close to the north house. It's actually the driveway, part of the driveway to the north house.
Okay.
So we're shifting all that just a little bit north to give some clearance away from the house for when things, additional buildings get put on the property or additional amenities. So,
But why not do it then? I mean, I'm just saying.
well, and
why
that's actually that was my next point.
Okay.
We don't really have to do that portion right now. There is access right there, like within 10 feet of where our proposed driveway is, there's an existing driveway.
Okay.
So the existing driveway could be utilized until such time as, we have more traffic coming onto the site. So that portion could be removed. I would only caution that bringing in heavy equipment and trucks, we may have to gravel some of that area earlier because of the heavy trucks coming in and dumping loads of gravel. So you'd have to work from kind of the roadway up into the property so that those trucks don't get stuck. So there could be a little bit of wasted gravel, but that's kind of a decision to be made. Whether you do the proposed entrance or you use the existing entrance for a little bit. And it wouldn't be completely wasted gravel because it'd be 10 feet in an area as it merges into the new drive location. Are there any other questions? Our plan does show proposed location and elevation of the drive approach or of the farm road, which we could have our surveyor stake. Given about a week's notice, we could be out here to stake it. We did already stake the corner of the barn, the proposed barn, before it was installed, and at that point we did stake the farm road, but just for alignment, not for elevation. Because those stakes don't last very long. Once the contractor's on site, they end up disappearing. So we didn't stake for elevation because that takes a little bit more time. There was a cross-section of the proposed road on there as well. We've made some amendments to that since that was put together. That shows the 8 inches of 21 AA limestone with the geotextile plus a geogrid. We spoke to our in-house geotechnical engineer, and he said that adding the geogrid is overkill, and that probably added about $15,000 to $20,000 to the work. So that amount is removed.
Could you maybe break that down into simpler terms, what you're saying, Ryan?
So for the construction of this, you would excavate a certain depth of the existing dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, the construction, you would put a geotextile fabric down, and that is to kind of hold everything, all the base together.
Okay.
You'd put down a couple inches of 21 AA, and then on top of that 21 AA limestone, just aggregate, you would put down this geogrid, which is like a plastic honeycomb looking material.
Okay.
It's about an inch thick. And then you put more 21 AA over that, and the 21 AA limestone fills in the gaps in that and creates a really strong structure for the road. That was our initial thought when we saw the geotech report, but since then, my company hired an in-house geotechnical expert. He worked for he's 30 years in the business. He's one of the best I know. And he looked at it probably 3-4 weeks ago and said, there's no reason to put the GeoGrid in there because the soils are not that bad. If you had really, really bad soils, you would need it, but they're not as bad as what I'm kind of a layman when it comes to the geotechnical world. So we thought, hey, let's put this in because it'll ensure everything's good. He said, there's no reason to put that in.
That would be that honeycomb structure.
That'd be the honeycomb
you're talking
structure,
about.
yes.
Okay.
That
So-
would be more if they're going through like swamp.
Yeah, it can, I've seen things where it'll hold, just you put that on top, underneath some sand, and it'll hold those big gravel haulers. So,
I feel like that drastically reduce the cost not having to have that as opposed to having to have it.
Subgrade, 10-star GeoGrid.
That seems pretty,
Yeah.
We
pretty
had that-
elaborate.
The 10-star GeoGrid was about $10,000 is what,
Okay.
so that's about 10,000 we were able to remove.
Cool.
So you have all the documents ready that we could use to go out to bid for this project?
To bid, no. Are you talking like a public advertisement bid?
Well, or just to go out to the excavators that we know in the area?
Almost. So when you go and you physically go talk to some contractors and get them to, you hand them a form and say, put your numbers on here. Yes, we have that.
Okay.
If you were to go out and bid and say, just solicit bids, we would put together an entire spec book, which would take some time. Because that you have to, when you're going out to bid, typically you would have to accept the low bid, the lowest bidder. And in that situation, you have to have a lot of documentation to protect the community, the township, so that they know exactly everything they have to do is in writing and very specific. When you go out and just talk to contractors and solicit bids, you're talking to people you're only going after the good contractors that you know. And so you don't need all that protection when you have to accept the low bidder. Because we've seen it many times where you accept the low bidder and they fight you tooth and nail the whole time.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is for us to go locally and talk to say, give us your numbers, you have the documents that say all, this is the base,
Yeah,
this is the additional.
You're
This is
looking at the
all,
plan,
okay.
and then the only other
And
thing,
that's
there would be a bid form, which we would have, okay, here's all the items, here's all the quantities, put your unit price in here.
That's what I was
And then we
looking for.
multiply it out.
Yep.
That's the piece you sent to me.
That's the
With
piece.
numbers.
With numbers, because what we do, we call that the engineer's estimate of probable cost, and that is just for the community to see, so that, for budgeting purposes.
Right.
So, yes. So yes, that
So it's
is all ready.
It's ready.
Yes, we have all that information. I would, I would take other things off if we were gonna do this. I would remove the GeoGrid from the cross-section.
Right.
But other than that, we could remove it from the form and that would be enough from the bid form.
That's what I think we should do, and if Dean has the capabilities and is bonded and insured for an excavator, then he can bid as well, but.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be an excavator for this, it's just, it's like a backhoe or a bulldozer, because you're only removing 8 inches. So basically, he's pushing it off to the side. That's how you would do it. You would just push it off to the side and then continue. And then I believe the idea with this would be to kind of build it as you go.
Build.
Because you have to start from North Holly Road, so you'd have to come in and build it. So, and as you get stone delivered, you build that part, and then you use that as your base to move your equipment around.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even the gravel truck has to dump gravel to
Right.
drive on gravel.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yes. Any other questions? Any?
Why don't, this has a right-hand turn off of North Holly Road into the driveway.
Yes.
Why not make it an angle, make it one way? If you want to make it, it's only to get stuff off, right?
Well, that's what's showing the future permanent entrance.
Okay.
To the site. The thought is, let's not build it twice.
Right.
Let's just build it once, and then it's good for the future.
Steve, just so you know,
But we don't have a future at this location, right?
Well, the barns,
no, you
no,
have.
we have the farmstead, but not the township hall.
The existing barn is off to the right.
But as we develop the farmstead, which is the northern part of the property,
Yep.
if you look on this drawing, on the extreme left side, you'll see where there's a parking area.
Yep.
labeled. Eventually, that parking area will attach to the road,
Okay.
once we've got more going on out here.
Yeah, there will be another egress onto North Holly Road there. That's already been discussed with the Road Commission for Oakland County.
Yeah,
As
that
we
was-
set out the original conceptual plan, we had those discussions so that we weren't proposing something that couldn't be approved. It's not
Well,
approved, but
it was
it's
part of the
in concept.
engineering plans for North Holly Road, the rebuild,
Mhm.
because we had it included back then. So. Okay. I think we're good then.
Anything else?
Well, we need a new drawing then, right?
We have the drawing is in front of you.
Yeah, the only thing I would change is I'd remove the geogrid from the cross-section,
Okay.
but other than that, the drawing is exactly what we would look to build.
I was gonna say, you have it removed down here.
Oh, maybe we did, yeah, maybe we did already. And I just didn't
You
realize.
had it removed here, you didn't have it removed from that list.
Because I made you there was 2 spreadsheets on there, yes.
Yeah.
It was removed from the second one.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it does say non-woven fabric over tensor geogrid.
Well, yeah, but we're doing one layer instead of 2.
All right,
All right,
thank you.
thank you very much.
Okay, so we have the information we need on that, correct?
I don't know what we're doing, so I guess.
Well, we're gonna go through the process and put it out for bid.
Oh, okay.
All right,
With this drawing,
pardon?
with this
Yeah.
drawing.
Well, and the list that John has.
Okay.
Do we need to make any decision about whether we're doing the entrance now or later? Because I would assume that would affect bids.
Right, we want to do it once.
John's coming back up.
One thing we can do with that is we could bid that as an alternate. So we could, we'd have the primary bid, and we can do it either way. We could have the primary bid with the entrance in there and the culvert and the catch basin structure as the primary, and then have an alternate removing those items. So you'll get bids for both. You get bids for the entire road and then for with and without the entrance. So we can do it that way. It's literally just, it's adding a couple line items to the bid form.
Okay. And one other, is the bid for the road till it hits that parking and then it stops, or does it include doing the parking lot?
It includes the parking on the end, and there's a parking
There's a parking right in front of
up by the community garden.
community garden.
Just right here.
The little box.
And that parking would eventually be part of the larger parking area. We don't need to do the larger parking area now, but we do need to do a smaller piece.
Okay.
Okay? Everybody good? All right. We will go to what's now number 2. That's to decrease the Park Commission members' proposed resolution 2024-01. On this resolution, there's 3 short paragraphs. First of all, it's based on Public Act 157 of 1905. The Township Board may increase or decrease the number of members of an existing Park Commission, and at its February 14th, 2024 meeting, the Park Commission unanimously approved requesting the Township Board to decrease the Park Commission membership from 7 members to 5 members. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Holly Township Board does hereby approve reducing the Park Commission members from 7 members to 5 members beginning with the 2024 election cycle. That's the resolution that's in front of us. I think the president of the Park Board, Joe Hutchins, is here. Did you want to come and speak on this?
Joe
Thank
Hutchins,
you, John.
Holly Township Parks Chairperson. Years ago, we used to have a 5-member board, and we wanted to expand to get more people in, and it doesn't work out that well with 7, because we usually have quite a few absentees. So we'd like to go back to our 5-member board. We'd be more efficient that way.
I think I remember it was, a lot of it was you were trying to get more participation in the programs and things that you were doing at the time, so you were adding park commissioners thinking that they were going to do those things.
Yeah.
And over the years, that never
No.
happened.
You know, I'm still working on tractors
Yeah,
and lawnmowers.
right.
And when was the last time you even had 7 people on the ballot? I mean, I think it's been a while since you've had, you usually, I think, have 5 on the ballot at least, but the rest are write-ins anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I have one question. You currently have a 7-member board. Were all 7 members anticipating running again?
No.
Okay. I'm just asking, because this would automatically push 2 people off the board.
Right.
They must not have if they voted to.
Yeah, unanimously.
Right, to
Unless all of them expected
reduce it.
someone else to leave.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, lately we offer a lot out there at the, at Sorensen Park. We got 2 days of seniors out there. We have Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, yoga. We have a lot to offer out there because we have the space. So if anybody wants some space, come see us.
That's the busiest I've seen the Nature Center in a long
We've
time.
got a lot of programming out there.
Well, and the credit goes right back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, our program coordinator, Amy, she's filling up the calendar, filling up the clock, so.
I see pottery, quilt, little things, yeah, all kinds of stuff, so, yeah.
And also, we go through Michigan Works, like was mentioned before. We now have back to 2 people. It doesn't cost us anything. We're going to solicit for 2 more because we like to get the seniors going and give them something to do.
Yeah, that's great.
And we also have young people working on our summer staff, doing maintenance and around the beach and the park. So we employ all local people. So
Yeah.
we got a lot to offer out there.
No, I think it's, since this young lady stepped up, came on board, I think it's been a great improvement.
Oh yeah, yeah, and nobody can have her. We pray for her. So
I know my phone stopped ringing, and I appreciate that.
oh, you'll still get a few phone calls from some other people, but yeah, we know who they are. Yeah. Okay, any other questions for me? Okay, thanks.
Chair would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to decrease park commission members to 5, proposed resolution 2024-01.
Support.
Motion by trustee Burton, support by clerk Winchester. She beat you by about half a second there,
Yeah.
Steve. Sorry.
Too slow.
Is there any further discussion? None appearing. Roll call, please.
Burton,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Winchester,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Hollis.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next on the agenda is the 2024-2025 budget amendments, proposed resolution 2024-02. Karen?
This was mostly driven by the balance of the ARPA funds due to NACFA, and then kind of then you look at everything in the budget and then make your little adjustments from there. And then the SAD fund, I don't remember where I got the original numbers from. I know it was before border review, but looking at the L4029, we had to make adjustments on the collection that we were going to receive. So that's where those are from.
So when we decrease that account, the SAD, is that just a numbers thing, or are we actually taking 41,000 and putting it somewhere else?
No, it's numbers, so you're.
It's just a numbers.
Yeah.
I just want it to be clear for
Yeah.
people. Now, I know you gave me this paper today, and you said that this was updated because you had made a mistake. And you told me something had to do with the
It was the,
$1,000?
yeah, at the top, the increased revenue account to the
Oh, I see it.
interest.
31, okay,
Which
I got it.
I should attribute to Jen and her savvy investing, so she does deserve a lot of credit. She's really brought in a lot of interest to the township that was not previously done.
Okay. At the time you gave it to me, I heard what you said, and you walked away, and I went, well, that one says 1,000, and so does this one.
Oh.
I didn't understand
Yeah.
1,000 was up here.
Yeah.
Okay, nope, I got it now. Okay, did you want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve 2024-2025 budget amendments, proposed resolution 2024-02.
Is there support?
Support.
I was gonna say, Steve.
That's what I paused for a minute. I was gonna let you have it.
Derek was looking at you.
I'm trying to find out where the 20,
Yeah, I think it's 2023, 2024, not 2024, 2025.
right.
Oh,
What?
that's on the agenda. I was just reading it off the agenda. So sorry.
I see. Right off the agenda,
2023,
yeah.
24, yep.
Oh, I say, it says it on the resolution.
No, yeah, it's
I've
correct.
had it wrong on the
Oh, yeah,
agenda.
I
On
see
the
it.
agenda, yeah.
Okay. So we got motion by Winchester, support by trustee Burton. Is there any further discussion now that we've got the date clarified? All right, roll call, please.
Ruth,
Yes.
Winchester.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Hollis.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now, next, we have the, is it pronounced KEPS?
Mm-hmm.
KEPS Metro Act Permit Extension Request, Proposed Resolution 2024-03. Karen?
Just they requesting an extension, their right-of-way permits through by the Metro Act that allows for us to give them permits, and they have to go through the township to do so.
Okay.
And we just did another organization this right
recent,
away too.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
It was
a month or two ago. or something.
AT&T, I think, that's, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Do you want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve KEPS Metro Ag Permit Extension Request Proposed Resolution 2024-03.
Motion by Burton, is there support?
Support?
There we go. We all looked at you. Motion by Burton, support by Ruth. Any further discussion? None appearing, roll call, please.
Winchester.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Hollis.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now, we'll go to next on the agenda is the McKinsey opioid settlement, Resolution 2024-04. Now, does it matter that it says 004?
Oh, yeah, we want to make it 04.
Just 04? Heavy finger.
Yep. So this is another settlement for the opioid, so we'll get future money for that. I just want to let the board know we thought that NACFA would be able to use the opioid settlement money we've received. We've only received about $1,700 and some dollars. It's not that much. They can't use it. There's a whole bunch of reporting that they have to do. It just doesn't work. They'd spend more than we would be able to give them. So I reached out to the Holly Area Youth Coalition, and they're going to make a presentation because that's what they do. I sent them an exhibit of the things that they could use the money for, and they'll be making a presentation or a proposal to the township to get those funds.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Otherwise, they're just gonna
I think
sit
when
there.
we started I think totally, because it comes from different entities, I think we're supposed to end up with somewhere in the neighborhood of 9,000.
That could be, we haven't seen it though.
But there's, in that lawsuit, if I remember when I read it in the beginning when we first applied for it, it's coming from 3 different entities. And there's a formula that each entity owes a certain amount.
Yeah, it was Walgreens, so this McKinsey, and,
I think it was CVS.
yeah, I think it was CVS.
Yeah. So, well, any money we can get and give to Hollier Youth
Yeah,
Coalition
they,
is
because
good
that's
money.
what they do.
All right. So the chair would entertain a motion. Chair would make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-04. Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Cullis, support by Burton. Any further discussion? None appearing. Roll call, please.
Ryan,
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Ruth,
No.
Winchester,
Yes.
Collis.
Yes. Motion carries 4-1. Now, number 5, or 6, I guess it is by now. Number 6 is the 2024 gravel program. I'm looking for the numbers.
There's a budget amount of 63,000.
I'm sorry?
There's a budget amount of 63,000 on the table,
I think it,
and then it has a little graph that's 21, 21, 21. Is that what, for the 21,000?
This number here?
And the little pie chart.
Oh, I see it up here. There we go.
oh, that's, right, for the each,
Each share.
yeah.
So what we're approving is $21,262.
Yeah, total budget, all shares.
Correct? We're approving the 21,262?
No, the 63,786 is the whole project.
Oh, we have to approve the whole number, understanding that our share is 21.
Yes.
That's, okay, that's out.
Is that because an agreement between the 3 of us?
Yeah.
Tri-party
Okay.
agreement.
Okay, so make a motion to approve the 2024 gravel haul program. Total amount being $63,786, with the understanding that our share is 1/3, $21,262.
Support.
Motion by Cullis, support by Burton. Any further discussion? None appearing. Roll call, please.
Burton,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Winchester,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Collis.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Before I move on to the next one, Karen, just as a refresher, explain the difference in when we have to approve money via a resolution versus we don't have to have a resolution for this.
I don't necessarily know that there is one, other than a requirement from the other side.
Okay, that's where it
And-
comes from.
Right,
Okay, that's what I want to find out.
and they don't require it, so,
Okay. Number 7 is the Planning Commission Annual Report. Derek? No, not, well,
I mean,
I just, yeah, this is just, yeah, just every year, the planning commission gives the board a report of what they've done over, the last year, and maybe some of the things, and what the projects or applicants they've seen. And then what they're looking ahead for in the future. And then as they're looking forward to that, we will be bringing bids for those things that they feel they want to work on throughout the year.
okay, is there anything here we need to approve?
No, I don't think so. I think, no.
So could this have gone in communication?
No, well, I don't know, really. I mean,
I'm
or
just
could
asking.
it just gone in a consent I really
That's
don't
why I
know
meant
that it needs
consent.
to be formal, but I would just move to accept the planning commission annual report.
Okay, motion
I'll
by
support that.
Winchester to receive, second by Burton. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Number 8 on the agenda is the Western Oakland Transportation Authority, known as WODA. It's a board appointment, term ending 11/20/24. As you know, we got the .95 millage for transportation added to our tax bills this year. And when it became official, Holly Township, actually I spearheaded the meeting with, I didn't realize what I did at the time, but I spearheaded a meeting with Holly Township, Springfield, Groveland, and Rose, and the village of Holly. And Bob DePalma walked in, he said, "I see you've called the 5 families." Which I didn't realize we had done. Anyway, we had a meeting, and it was through that meeting that Groveland, Rose, the village of Holly, and Holly decided that we would join WODA, and you remember that came before the board, and we joined them. Springfield didn't join WODA because they were partnered with Independence, and they had a different thing that they did. But the 4 of us did. The board of directors for WODA decided that they would like a representative from the region to sit on their board, and they reached out to me. It was actually at the chamber dinner. The director said that she had been authorized by the board to ask me if I would be willing to sit on the board. And I said I would, but my concern was that if I was going to represent the region, then the region should speak on that, because I didn't want to be put on the board and have maybe Rose or Groveland or the village of Holly say, "Well, wait a minute, why him?" So the board at their last meeting decided to send out a resolution to everybody in support of my being the spokesperson for our region. And that's what's in front of you tonight, is to, they sent us a resolution, but Karen said we really didn't need to do that.
And I didn't realize it was a regional, so I thought it was just township. So maybe it does need to be regional, by resolution. I didn't understand that you were being appointed by each municipality. I don't think we need it to be a resolution, it should just be an appointment. And maybe the other communities have to approve you as well.
Yeah, because everybody got,
Yeah, we shouldn't need to do it by resolution.
okay. So we're just going to make a motion to appoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would make a motion to appoint George Cullis to the Western Oakland Transportation Authority board appointment, or transfer, how do I say that? That's weird. All right, I move to appoint George Cullis to the Western Oakland Transportation Authority, term ending 11/20/24.
Support?
Support by Burton. Any discussion?
The only discussion I have, and I mean, this doesn't necessarily pertain, but now that you may be on the board, maybe you can look into, just curious if any of their board members are users. That would be interesting to me to know if any of their board members actually use WODA services.
Okay.
And if you get on, then maybe, if not, maybe you can figure that out for us.
Well, and so let me just say this. I was a strong proponent against this. I was part of a panel that Senator Johnson had put together in a public hearing in Independence. I was on the radio and interviewed on this, and I was against it, flat out. So I did have somebody say, "Well, you were so against it, why would you want to sit on the board?" Well, the bottom line is they're taking money out of our community. It got shoved down our throat. Now, going forward, I think we need to at least make sure we get as much service out of it as we can. And so that's why I did that. Or that's why I said it. Any other discussion? None appearing, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Almost knocked my glasses off. The last, number 9 on the agenda is the clerk's request to name Fish Lake Canoe Landing.
Yes, I wanted to bring it to the board to see if, how they felt about maybe naming the canoe landing after Sue Julian, or Sue and Chuck really, like maybe Julian's Landing or Julian Landing, after all of the environmental things that she's done for, the communities, Village of Holly Township, Rose Township, and all the work that she's done getting the grant for this and helping us with the other. I would like to honor, them with that, providing, because it just dawned on me that vaguely I remember her saying that if you name it after somebody, you may not be able to get future grants, and I would need to verify that if the board would, if agrees. Okay. I would have to verify that we wouldn't be prohibited from future grants because it's a
So what
private
if we
name.
made a motion to create a plaque to put out at the landing, thanking them for the work they've done?
We could do that.
And as opposed, I mean,
As opposed,
I like the sound of Julian's Landing,
So do
but I don't
I.
want to cut off our nose to spite our face either.
Well, right, but I don't know where we would go to find that out, so maybe that's just
Probably talk to
no
the
action
DNR.
at this point then, because I didn't think of it before the agenda went out, but that we need to verify that and then I can bring it back.
Okay, I think if we talk to the guy at the Humanities who has grants and the DNR, because
That
if we
they
ever
would-
got a grant, DNR would probably be where we'd go.
Correct, yeah,
Let's look into that and do that.
all right.
So for tonight, no
No
action taken.
action, yeah.
Okay. That brings us to the final public comment.
Randy Fingbiner, Catalina Way in Holly Township. Trustee Burton just spoke about the WODA and want to know if any of the directors would use it. Well, I can let you know that I have a good friend that has an AFC home here in Holly Township. They use WODA each and every day. It takes their members to their work site and brings them back. Has been
I'm sorry, Randy, he has what kind of home?
an AFC home. Adult
AFC.
Health Care.
I just didn't hear it.
Yes. Couple of restrictions, but it's basically weather-related or illness-related. Other than that, they love the service. They're on time, they're very prompt, they communicate, and I know this because they're good friends of ours. And so just let you know that it's being used in this area, that I know that one for sure, but I see it around all the time, stopping at different places. I've seen it stop up at Holly Foods.
This is the WODA?
The WODA.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they have now labeled their units. They have a couple of the previous buses from here, and there's at least 2 different vans that have run in the area. They may borrow them from another area based on routing, but they're in our area, so they're making stops, so they're taking care of our folks.
Good.
And, well, Mary Blanchard.
Mary Blanchard, 3444 Old Creek Drive. On behalf of the Save Falk Road Committee, I would like to thank Clerk Winchester and Trustee Ruth for coming out to the Save Falk Road Committee meeting on February 15th, where we hosted MDHHS Community Outreach Department for an Eat Safe Fish Guide presentation. In Holly, we have 3 lakes that are affected by the Eat Safe Fish Guide. Bush Lake, Rice Lake are both having fish with mercury and PFOS contamination. So residents are advised to limit the number of fish that they eat. Also, I learned this week that Big 7 Lake in 7 Lake State Park has been on the Eat Safe Fish Guide advisory since 2004 for mercury in fish. PFOS were not tested in the fish back in 2004. I wish more people had come out to listen to the presentation, especially to those people on the lakes that could be at risk from eating the fish. But I do appreciate all the people who did come out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for the work you did on that. I will tell you, when you talk about who comes to meetings versus who doesn't, there are so many meetings in this town that quite often there's 2 and 3 on the same night, and you can't, it just happened Monday night that there were 2 different meetings in the community, and it's happened multiple times. I even had 3 meetings one night at the same time, so it's difficult to make all of the meetings.
Well, the other thing is I went last night to the Holly Township Library, and our Oakland County Water Resource Commissioner was there, Jim Nash.
Yeah,
and
at the same time, we had a NACFA board meeting in Rose Township.
Well, the Jim Nash meeting, there were 5 people there, and 4 of them I had invited. So I'm not sure how the message is getting out to these things. But the other thing I would like to say is thank you to Karen for just advising to put the landing name as the Julians, because they definitely deserve it. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think it sounds cool, Julian's
I
Landing.
like it a lot. Yeah.
Perfect.
It does, but
We just
want to make
need
sure
to
we don't
cut off our...
shoot ourselves in the foot
Right.
on that. Anyone else for public comment? Mr. Kinnaman.
2 things, Richard Kinnaman, 4151 Stonebridge. The first thing is I would suggest in most of the things that I do in the village, when you're moving into a phase like you're looking at with the building, you schedule your workshop now. Place it on, discuss a date before you leave today and have that on your calendar. Otherwise, you'll be here next month and go, we still need a workshop. So that would just be a recommendation or suggestion to you. The other thing I would like to speak as the executive director for the Chamber of Commerce, and say that on February the 1st, how about March the 1st, we have a bowling extravaganza taking place at Holly Lanes, and you can go on our website and purchase tickets or come and see me personally in the office. Thank you.
If you have a chance, those are fun to go to. We just had a thank you party at the bowling alley for the Dickens Festival volunteers, and Jen, who's our treasurer, she was there with her family and her little boy, and he's running around, he got his shoes, he got his ball, he got out there and he bowled, and he came back and he's standing, I was working the table, and he stands in front of me, and I said, Xavier, what do you need? He says, I'm bored. I said, you're bored with bowling? No, I have to wait for somebody else to bowl before I can bowl again. I told Jed, I said, I think you got that boy too overstimulated. He couldn't even handle downtime. But everybody had fun out there. Is there anyone else for public comment? Mr. Mishler.
Joe Mishler, 620 Academy Road, I think. I agree with Mr. Kinnaman. I think you should set a date for a workshop
I was planning on doing that
as
in
soon as
closing remarks.
possible, because there seems to be a lot at stake, and I just want to reiterate that. And you were kind of right.
Thank you.
No matter where we go, it'll be a year. It won't be 2.5 years, because we won't let that happen. We will do something. But we are in an immediate situation. So your support would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Ray?
Ray Fenning, 1304 Eagle Road, Rose Township. The Veterans Center that we're talking about, the kicking down the road, we are going to keep looking for a place. I think you would be missing the boat by not having us. We are a very big asset. The information that you got last time, by the end of this year, the community effect will be up almost $8 million. Real dollars, $1.5 million. We have people, because our service officer, who's paid for by the Vietnam Veterans of America, can't meet here right now full-time because they don't have a location. That would increase the money coming into this community by 10%, maybe 15%. According to everything that I have heard, the building up front, the part I call up front anyway, is occupiable right now. If that's true, I would suggest, please, let us be there and we will work with you to make it permanent. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? None appearing. Under closing remarks, I had workshop here. That's what I was going to do, is say, let's look at scheduling that workshop. I would look at, the first week in March.
Planning Commission is on March 5th.
Planning Commission's on March 5th. We're here on a Wednesday, does that seem to work for everybody? Did you say so?
I'm just trying to hear the date.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Holly Parks Commission is on the 6th.
Holly Parks Township or Village?
The Park Commission no longer meets here, so we can do
No,
that.
no, that's Village.
Oh, Village. Oh, okay.
He said Village.
Yeah. So the second Wednesday is that our Park Commission? Because they are no longer meeting here.
Richard, if we met on March 6th, would we be able to use the Commons?
No.
No?
Yeah, that whole building is, right now, it's full of stuff.
Oh, gee, we could use our own building over on Grange Hall Road.
Mm-hmm.
Duh.
Set up some.
No
We need chairs.
Yeah.
Everybody bring a lawn chair.
No, there's chairs over there.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many chairs? Not enough for, well, I guess we can get some over there.
Well, there's that whole row of white chairs. There's these kind of chairs around the board table.
Yeah.
But there's the white chairs that were around the computer table that are out
Oh, okay.
in the other room.
Are you saying our current building or?
The one on Grange Hall Road.
Okay.
building.
Okay.
The new building.
Okay.
The building you're workshopping about.
That's what I,
right.
the one we're working at, there's an actual, it was like, duh, we got
Yeah.
space right there, we don't need to, yeah. Does March 6th work for everybody?
And by me,
Wednesday.
At 6:30?
Mm-hmm.
Steve?
mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Karen, Jennifer, and Derek were all nodding their head, but you weren't moving, so I didn't hear
I
from
wrote it
you.
down, so I'm fine.
Okay.
My husband just texted to say we could bring 8 more chairs.
Hey, that's fun though, because that tells us people are watching the meeting.
At least
Listening.
one.
Well, I think we have some folding upstairs in the closet. Some
Yeah.
folding chairs.
Well, I just know the outside of the boardroom where those windows are that have the white on them,
Mm-hmm.
that's solid chairs from one end to the other.
Oh, okay.
Those
I don't
white,
remember
they're kind of a
that.
stackable chair. Okay, then it's set.
March 6th at 6:30.
Any other comments? None appearing, I will close the meeting